like to officially call this snout session to order. The first day, third regular session. Today is Friday, January 7, 2022 at exactly 2:02 p.m. And before we move on with their agenda, I'd like to ask everyone to stand for a moment of silent prayer. Okay. And before the roll call, I'd like to ask for everybody to put their phones on silent mode for this proceeding. And I'd like to ask the clerk now to call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Present.
Representative Atto,
Present.
Representative Selena Babalta,
Present.
Representative Sheila Babalta,
Present.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Yeah.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Present.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Present.
Representative Demapan,
Stiga.
Representative Flores,
Present.
Representative Guerrero,
Stiga.
Representative Lezama,
Present.
Representative Magofnia,
Present.
Representative Probst,
Present.
Senator Kirigua, Representative Christina Sablan,
Present.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Stiga.
Chairman Vinny Sablan,
Gaga.
Representative Staffler,
Present.
Representative Villagomez,
Present.
Representative Yanktamai, Representative Yumo. Mr. Chairman, we have 19 members present and 2 members absent.
Thank you, clerk. With 19 members present, we hereby have a quorum. For the record, Senator Husukirigwa is hereby excused from today's proceedings, and I believe Representative Yang Tamai will be joining us shortly. Again, we do have our floor leader, Representative Sheila Babauta, who's joining us on the screen via Teams, as well as Representative Probst. So with that, we'll move down to item B, reading and approval of the journal. And at this time, I'd like to recognize our floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to adopt SNILE Journal number 22-8, fourth day, second regular session, November 15, 2021. So move.
Okay, there's been a motion and it has been seconded. Discussion on that motion? All in
Ready.
favor to adopt Snout Journal 22-8, please say aye. All who oppose, say nay.
Aye.
Motion carries. And now we move down to item C, and this is public comments. This is the portion of the session where we would allow for any of the visitors in the gallery to present any public comments pertaining to any item that's on the agenda. We ask you to state your name before proceeding, and we also ask that you keep your comments less than 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members of the Saipan delegation. For the record, my name is Ross Maglonia, and I serve as the director for the newly established Cultural Maritime Training Center, a creation of the nonprofit organization, 500 sales, and funded out of competitive grants awarded by Administration for Native Americans. My comments are regarding miscellaneous communications 22-77, funding request for 500 sales. 500 Sales is a Sinamay nonprofit organization dedicated to the revival, promotion, and practice of maritime cultural traditions of the Mariana Islands through community engagement in canoe cultural values, and activities that lead to a healthy, thriving native community that has successfully integrated traditional cultural values into modern life. The request being made is specific to the fuel needs of our newly purchased 15-passenger van to transport our students to and from our class activities. These courses include traditional canoe fabrication and maintenance, traditional canoe sailing and voyaging, Gamsum project, Pescantadung, Sunday sales, Lalazak project, lifeguard certification and recertification. With my previous experience running trades programs, I was brought on to the team to expand 500 sales course offerings as there remains a void in the maritime industry locally. The grant funding this is focused on provides our local populace with career opportunities within the maritime field. Upon doing a simple walkthrough of the boat captains on island and anyone catering to that field, you will notice that they will view such jobs as high paying and highly desirable. We are currently adding the following maritime trades onto our list of courses: standards of training, certification of watchkeeping, operator uninspected passenger vehicles or otherwise known as six-pack, the able seaman, merchant marine credential, water safety instructor, and most key, almost all of our funding stems from grants. If approved, this would be one of the only few exceptions. As you can see, there are exciting times for our people as we continue to grow our programs, which in turn provides employment opportunities for our residents. So I kindly ask for your favorable consideration of our request for funding. I also have with me for submission student testimonials on the program's impact in order for the community to merely for the record. Thank you, and Jesus Masi, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Manglonia. Anyone else for public comments? Okay, so with that, let's go ahead and move on. Under D, there are no introduction of local bills. Under E, no introduction of local resolutions. Under F, messages from the governor, clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Governor's Communication 22-16 to 22-17.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussions on governor's communications? Okay, ready? Before we move on to G, I'd like to go ahead and recognize the floor leader for some suspension motions for some communications that came in after the call. Floor leader.
Thank you, Chairman. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to suspend pertinent rules to accept communications that we received after the notice went out. You all should have copies of that on your desk. It is Mayor's Communication 22-30 and Miscellaneous Communication 22-80. So move.
There's been a motion to suspend rules to accept communications coming after the call. Has been seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Ready? Clerk, please call the roll for the motion.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Atal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Bawalta,
Good.
Representative Sheila Bawalta,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Hunggan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapuan,
Hunggan.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Hunggan.
Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Hunggan.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villagomez,
Yes.
Representative Yomo. Mr. Chairman,
Hungan. So how many, clerk?
Mr. Chairman, 19 members present voted yes, and 2 members absent.
Thank you, clerk. With 19 members voting yes, the suspension motion carries. Moving on to item G, messages from mayors of Saipan and the Northern Island. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Mayor's Communication numbers 22-28 to Mayor's Communication 22-30.
Mr. Chairman?
Recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under messages from the mayors of Saipan and the Northern Islands, I just wanted to state for the record that Mayor's Communication number 22-9 should state December 16, 2021, Mayor Vicente C. Santos Jr. letter of support for Valentino Taisaken. So this is a typo that I want to say for the record, and I apologize for any inconvenience, Mr. Chairman and members. Thank you.
Floor leader, could you state that again? Which mayor's communication? 22-29?
29. Yes.
Okay, so what I have here states the request to appropriate funds sourced from 4 CMC subsection 2307C2. So that should be corrected.
Correct.
Council, could we treat that as a technical or, okay? Okay, so we'll treat that as a technical, and then also with that, we'd also like to add miscellaneous mayor's communication 22-30 is added already. That's a new one. Okay. So noted. Okay. Recognize Representative Fato.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on Mayor's Communication 22-29, just to reflect that it's Mayor Vicente C. Santos Jr. for the Northern Islands Mayor, not the municipality of Saipan.
Okay. So noted, and
Thank you.
also treated as a technical.
Thank you.
Okay, so clerk, please make those technical amendments for the record. Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to item H, none under item H, none under item I, none under item J. We move down to item K, delegation matters. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Delegation Matters numbers 22-80 to 22-82.
Thank you, clerk. Any discussion on delegation matters? Ready? Moving on to miscellaneous communications. Clerk.
Mr. Chairman, we have Miscellaneous Communication numbers 22-75 to 22-80.
Thank you. Any comments under miscellaneous communications? Ready? Okay, we move down to reports of standing committees, and if I can request the floor leader, if we can dispose of standing committee report number 22-15 before we do 22-14. So at this moment, I recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-15, the SNILE Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations, reporting on the reappointment of Mr. Valentino Taisaken Jr. to serve as a member of the CNMI Cannabis Commission. Your committee recommends his confirmation. So move.
Okay, thank you, floor leader. There's been a motion and it has been seconded. Discussion on the motion, and at this time, I'd like to recognize the chairwoman of the SNOUD JGO, Senator Edith Leon Guerrero.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Before we adopt the Standing Committee Report number 22-15,
I'd like to propose a motion to amend the committee report to include attachment F for the CNMI Cannabis Commission's response to inquiries raised during the committee meeting. We received the responses quite late after the filing of the committee report, so I would like to make a motion to amend the committee report to include attachment F. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator. There is a motion to amend the committee report, and it has been seconded. Clerk, can you call the roll on the motion?
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Atal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Balalta,
Again.
Representative Joel Camacho. Representative Sheila Babalta,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Ungan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero, Representative Damapan,
Good.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero, Representative Lizama,
Yes.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villagomez,
Ungan.
Representative Yumo. Mr. Chairman,
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With 19 members voting yes, the motion hereby carries. Now back to the main motion under the adoption of Standing Committee Report number 22-15. And Clerk, could you call the roll? And just for the record, if it garners the majority votes of this body, then the confirmation hereby stands. But under discussion, Representative Ato.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just because we voted on the motion that was presented by Senator Edith De Leon Guerrero to amend the committee report, I think the main motion should reflect now as 22-15 draft one, the committee report. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So noted. Ready? Clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Atal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babalta,
Again.
Representative Sheila Babalta,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Ungan.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Damapan,
Good.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Ungan.
Representative Lizama,
Ungan.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Ungan.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villagomez,
Yes.
Representative Yumo.
Ungan.
Mr. Chairman,
Hungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, Clerk. With all 19 members voting yes, Standing Committee Report number 22-15 is hereby adopted in the form of draft one, and with the action of the delegation, it is official that Mr. Valentin Taisakan is hereby confirmed by this delegation. Could we take a recess just for a quick photo and some congratulatory shakes? Okay, we are back in session after a short recess, and we are still on item M, reports of standing committees. And at this moment, I'd like to recognize our floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to offer a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-14, SNILE Standing Committee on Judiciary and Governmental Operations, reporting on the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program oversight. Your committee looks forward to receiving all the data as requested pursuant to Open Government Act requests and during the hearing, as well as DOL's implementation of the recommendations regarding the CNMI POA program. I move for its adoption.
There's been a motion to adopt Standing Committee Report number 22-14. It has been seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Ready? The clerk, please call the roll.
Representative Adda,
Yes.
Representative Atal,
Yes.
Representative Selena Babalta,
Nga.
Representative Sheila Babalta,
Yes.
Representative Joel Camacho,
Good.
Representative Vicente Camacho,
Yes.
Senator De Leon Guerrero,
Yes.
Representative Demapan,
Good.
Representative Flores,
Yes.
Representative Guerrero,
Good.
Representative Lizama,
Good.
Representative Magofnia,
Yes.
Representative Probst,
Yes.
Representative Christina Sablan,
Yes.
Representative John Paul Sablan,
Good.
Representative Staffler,
Yes.
Representative Villagomez,
Good.
Representative Yumo,
Good.
Mr. Chairman.
Tungan.
Mr. Chairman, all 19 members present voted yes.
Thank you, clerk. With all 19 members voting yes, Standing Committee Report number 22-14 is hereby adopted. Moving on, there's none under item N, reports of special and conference committees, none under item O, unfinished business, none under item P, which is resolution calendar, none under item Q, bill calendar. And now we move to item R, miscellaneous business. Any member for miscellaneous business? Ready? Okay, moving on to announcement. Any announcements by any members? If there's no announcement, the chair has an announcement. We will, I like to ask that we start working on any pending legislations in committee. I know that we have an appropriation bill before the Ways and Means Committee, and once that that report is done, then I will call for another session. And also, during that session, just for a heads up, I'd like that we do fill the vacancy of the delegation vice chair during that session, so that we can this body can move forward with all the delegation business. Okay. So we're looking at sometime this month, just depending on the committee reports that are coming out. Okay. Alrighty. And now we are at item T under adjournment, and I'd like to recognize the floor leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I move for adjournment, subject to the call of the chair.
Okay, there's a motion to adjourn. It has been seconded. All in favor to adjourn today's delegation session, please say aye. All who oppose, say nay. Motion carries, and everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.